sadly, there wasn't a single reference to multiculturalism in the budget. And that's extremely disappointing when you consider the former Prime Minister, Malcolm Turnbull, referred to multiculturalism just about every opportunity he had and praised how it was the glue that held our society together. Regardless of who wins the election, I think the policy of multiculturalism is absolutely critical for the well-being and the prosperity of not just the population but the country as a whole. And we would very much like all sides of politics to go back to the 70s when multiculturalism enjoyed multi-party support, not just bipartisan support, which has led to this country achieving so many great successes in the areas of economy, in trade, in culture, in art. That's what we are seeking, to restore multiculturalism to the position it enjoyed in the 70s. One of the important points about multiculturalism is to ensure that services are delivered in a fair and equitable, and more importantly, a culturally and linguistically appropriate manner. When you have a policy of mainstreaming, it is important that alongside mainstream services, to address the needs of subsects of our population. A structural response to multiculturalism. When the Honourable Jeff Gallop was the Premier of Western Australia, he put a policy platform in place which included a multiculturalism charter, an anti-racism strategy, a substantive equality policy, and a language services policy. The four together provided the scaffolding that was necessary for effectively addressing the needs of a multicultural society. The Barnett government, they unfortunately did not effectively implement them. And the McGowan government, they still have a long way to go. This is a federal election, and what we need is an integrated national strategy that addresses prejudice, racism, and extremism in all of its forms in a very effective and coordinated way, and resourced inadequately by both the Commonwealth as well as the state and territory governments. Aged care is another area of concern to us. As most people would know, Australia's ethnic minority population is aging at a more rapid rate than the mainstream population. And that is largely because of the post-war migration that we experienced from many parts of Europe, from Vietnam, Asia, including China and India. That component of our population aging at a more rapid rate than mainstream Australians, it is absolutely critical to address the needs in a culturally and linguistically appropriate way. These are people who've been here for decades, who've given their blood, sweat and tears to build up the state and country to what it is today. What we are asking for is just paying back some of what they have contributed by way of taxes and blood, sweat and tears. Mental health, again, is another area. People from ethnic minority backgrounds are unfortunately attempting and completing suicide at a very rapid rate relative to the rest of the population. Plenty of evidence to show that migrants commit suicide at a disproportionate rate, and people of migrants of cold background do so at an even higher rate. Culturally and linguistically appropriate mental health and suicide prevention and postvention is absolutely critical. I'm afraid whilst both sides of politics are promising significant amounts of money towards mental health and suicide prevention, I haven't seen either of them singling out ethnic minorities in a culturally and linguistically appropriate way. We cannot rely on the commercial radio and television stations to cover the issues of concern, and this is where multicultural radio and play a critical role. And the very fact that I'm here today and being interviewed by West Television is a case in point. Now, we issued a media release which went to all the mainstream media outlets. None of them chose it fit to seek our views in the way West Television has sought. To give the multicultural communities and the indigenous communities and communities of people with disabilities and gay and lesbian and minorities of all shapes and sizes the opportunity to share their concern, promote the work that they do as the Ethnic Communities Council. Before every state and federal election for many decades now, we have ensured that we organized a pre-election public forum. We will be doing so this time as well, possibly late April or early May. I wouldn't be surprised if history is anything to go by, that the only television station there would be West Television. What more do I need to highlight the importance of the need for whichever government is elected to ensure that they are adequately funded?